Welcome to another installment of Ask Adam. This week's question comes from Melissa Sandoval-Mattern, and she asked, why do some summer thunderstorms in Sacramento produce lots of lightning but very little rain on the ground? This happens frequently in Sacramento, and it's a great question to dive into because it is so impactful for our fire season. The first thing we need to understand in order to answer this question is how thunderstorms form in the Sierra. It's through a process called orographic lift, meaning a geographical feature physically lifting the air. As wind hits a mountain range, obviously it can't go through, so it's forced upward. That moist, warm air rises and it cools. Now, cold air can't hold as much moisture as warm air, so that moisture gets squeezed out and condenses until the point where we see it as a cloud. And something interesting about clouds is most of them have flat bottoms. Look for that. And that's that level where it condenses. And there's a name for that. It's called the lifting condensation level, or LCL for short. That fluctuates depending on atmospheric conditions. Now let's take a closer look at what we have specifically in Northern California. What we're looking at here is the coastal range, the valley, and the Sierra. Typical thunderstorm pops up in the Sierra. You have rain coming to the ground. You have lightning. Here's a look at the elevations. 7,000 feet is about where Donner Summit is on Highway 80. Now behind the scenes, something we can't really see is the amount of moisture in the atmosphere at different levels. Generally, below a cloud and in higher elevations, you have high moisture. Then you get closer to the surface, it's very dry, low moisture, low relative humidities. And it's something that we're known for here around Sacramento, is that it doesn't get humid very often. It's fairly dry at the surface. Now let's move that thunderstorm over into the Central Valley. And all of a sudden, this rain makes its way through that high moisture area, but gets to a point where it's so dry that it evaporates in the air. And that's what we call virga, rain that doesn't reach the ground. Now, while that rain doesn't reach the ground, lightning still does. That's what we consider to be dry lightning. And virga itself is something worth looking at. Now, it's hard to tell what you're seeing unless you know what you're looking for, and this is an example of that. Here's that cloud and the cloud base, and below it, it looks a little bit hazy, it's unclear. This is rain falling from that cloud, but evaporating in that dry layer of air. It also comes in different forms, and it can look like jellyfish. These are smaller clouds, and it's really pretty. It's fun to see in the sky, and you'll notice this here in Northern California. But it's kind of sad to look at too, because essentially what we're seeing is the death of a cloud. It is fading away and it is evaporating before our eyes. I love that question. Thank you so much for asking it. I hope you always continue to ask questions and stay curious.